You just stop staring at your monitor, William. You just stop staring at it. Waiting for me to go live, mate. You monster. Oh. You have not missed anything, Papa. You're just about to start. If anyone has a question, you can put question in brackets. Probably a couple of things I want to talk about before we start. I can't fucking remember. I'm compiling a video in the background as well if we've got weird frame rates or audio problems or something. What do I want to talk about today? 3.7. PTU / live 3.8 and end of 2019. CitizenCon 10th of October anniversary. Mantis. Anything else major? Oh, the might report stuff. There was some good highlights of that. I can remember what they are when we're talking about them. Who needs notes, eh? Not me. I do need notes. I need notes. I did hear you! I have no idea how to say your name, though. Anarchism. Anacrogism. Yep. Anna. Boom. Done. Start in a couple of minutes. Bam. That's basically a couple of minutes, right? My head is too shiny! Right, let's sort out my shiny head. Come on. No, that's the wrong button. Is this the right button? What is going on there? That's not what I want at all. Not only shiny, it's so... Oh, no. my head is the same colour as my green screen. Is that what it's telling me? Is that what you're telling me? Oh, less smoothness. Oh no. Why have you done this to me? Right. I can't, white. I change, white balance. Is better or worse? Better. Let's do that. That will just make me look shiny rather than see-through. Perfect. That'll fuck it. If my head goes see-through, you're going to have to deal with it. Okay? Bam. How's everyone doing? I hope you're not having the same sort of like BoredGamer, flashy, see-through, shiny head problems that I'm having. Hello. Yes, you were first, Mr. Drunklet. No. I was first. No. You haven't missed anything yet. Hi from South Africa. Hi from the UK. Are takedowns supposed to be in this patch? No, they are not. Takedowns are probably fully working in Squadron 42 now, but they're not planned for 3.7. It's possible you could see them in 3.8, though I think that's unlikely because it's not on the roadmap for them. It's when they decide they're ready for prime time for the multiplayer PU. It's a bit more of a effort to get certain things into the persistent universe, obviously, because they have to get them ready for multiplayer, and they have to be viewable by other players when you're doing them. If you see what I mean, when another player's doing them. Whereas in like Squadron 42, you're doing the takedown. It doesn't have to be viewed from a third party, but everything's unified in Star Citizen, so the first and third person models are fully unified. So it's a bit more of a process. And obviously there's networking issues and balance stuff. Suncost Galaxy Chapter 7, Lady Macbeth. Look, Blinky, whatever his name is more than... I can't remember his fucking name now. He's more than entitled to his opinion. He does a series that is very critical of sort of like more business analysis and the secrets and have a think about the people behind the project. He does stuff like that as a Star Citizen sort of like expose, I suppose. And I don't particularly like his reasoning, as in I'm not particularly overly critical of individual people in a company. The last one was sort of like focusing on Sandy Gardner and marketing, and saying he's basically unqualified and lots of issues there. Whereas I don't see that as much of a part of Star Citizen's development now. Might have been originally. Nepotism, not an issue in my problem, in my opinion. You can definitely argue that there might be better people, better placed to, run Star Citizen's marketing now. However, they seem to have very successful marketing, so I don't know. But I cover gameplay and news and the actual games development rather than individual people there. So I watch this series because I watch everything Star Citizen related to get a bit of a more beat on the pulse. But I don't particularly think it's great. I don't particularly enjoy it. Well, I mean, that's probably not entirely true. It's not for me. And I don't agree with his conclusions with a lot of stuff, but that's fine. I mean, he presents a load of information at you, and you can decide for yourself. And a lot of it is factual. A lot of it's just opinion or very specific about a person. We go, well, how's that influencing game development? Or are you saying that she hasn't helped raise, $200+ million for the game? That sort of thing. So I think there's some demonstrable truths that you can go, well, it seems to have worked for them being VP of marketing. But people are entitled to their own opinions. People are entitled to make any content they want, to an extent, obviously. And I think the more information, the better. People can have a look at it, decide for themselves. I'm not... some people say I'm too naive in thinking that people will go and search out for information themselves. Some people don't, obviously, the reason my channel exists, don't have enough time to search for all the information, so they'll listen to someone else that apparently has authority. I do think that's a slight problem, but, more information is typically better. And, yeah, he's entitled to his opinions. is that new quantum travel effect going to be in the 3.7 patch? Yes. That is specifically the one you've seen, the green one, for the Banu Defender. And each of the alien races is going to have a sort of like different style of quantum travel. And I believe each size of quantum drive. So the larger quantum drives have a bit more of a style as well that they're working on at the moment. Or do you think they might delay 3.7 live to the 15th or so to give people 3.7 P2 on the 10th to sort out current bugs and fixes? Yeah, so it's possible that they'll have a live build for the 10th of October. That's what they look like they're trying to do. If that's not going to be possible because of too many bugs and not ready for prime time, then it will be an open PTU for everyone is what I'd expect for the 10th. So either open PTU for everyone or live build on the 10th. That's probably what I'd expect. All right, Bambar, thank you from the hay from Afghanistan. How will I be able to play the public PTU? So at the moment it's in first wave PTU, which means that Evocati, Concierge, which are people that have spent $1,000 or more on their accounts, and RSI subs will have access to it. I would expect at some point over the next couple of days, potentially even today, that the PTU will go to wider PTU, allowing more people to access it. And then eventually be open PTU by probably the 10th, so within the next few days. Yeah, so I've just put a video up looking at the state of the PTU and some of the patch notes from the last couple of minor patches. I think the PTU's in a great place, assuming they can get through all of the known issues that they've got listed and try and get the IFCS assist mode in a state where people aren't like, these are the flying turrets, fuck you. So as long as we can get there, I think we're in a good state. I think it's very playable, 3.7. I know they removed hover mode. Yeah, so they removed they're still atmospheric flight. Okay, so for landing, I did not like hover mode. Hover mode was too erratic and not precise enough to land properly. The tenets of the IFCS assist, basically, the idea is when you're moving slowly now, and you're close to a planet's surface or object, you sort of like dynamically scale down your acceleration when you're there, so you move more precisely. So you don't erratically pitch forward or anything like that. Now, they've done that at the same time as removing the sort of helicopter mode entirely. So, you have like ships being able to, at the moment, basically point nose down at the ground without any problems and like turn over and just sort of like fly upside down. That's not what we want either. So we want that they are going to make thrusters less powerful in atmosphere. They are tweaking that system, so hopefully we'll have something that's a bit more appropriate. I'd like something in between hover mode and the IFCS assist at the moment. I want hover mode, I think. I said I didn't like the helicopter, but and I don't when I'm close to the ground trying to land. I'm trying to get through. I should have been more concise about it. I should have done a video very much specifically talking about how I would fix it, and I didn't. So I probably have caused some confusion. And I know some people probably listen to me and just don't question me and just go, yes, I'm not a helicopter. I know some people are like that because they probably think I'm more informed than I am. But with the IFCS assist mode, I like the fact that it's easier to land. I don't want gating to being able to land at landing zones, but I don't want to be able to be a floating turret. So there needs to be something in between that. And they might be able to get, with reducing the power thrusters, they might be able to get something like that in. So the caves in 3.7 are absolutely fantastic. So the lootables, harvestables, minables, they're all really, really interesting. They give lots of busy work to do. There's reasons that you would want to go into a cave and really explore quite far. Caves are absolutely massive as well. You can quite easily get lost in them, although there are ways to sort of find your way around them. You can also notice some of the way the modularity of those caves works. Because they talked about it a while ago, and I sort of like, you can identify ways out. Go up, basic. For the most part, go up is out, go down is in. That's not 100% true all the time, but also you can orientate yourself with man-made lighting, and if they have that in the cave, and where your ship is landed. Get the human mask on correctly. Over my potato head. With the new caves being implemented, what do you think of rock climbing mechanic in the game? More than just vaulting, and more along the lines of bouldering and climbing cliffs. So I really like what they've got at the moment, where you can hop up walls. You can actually probably vault, pull yourself up significantly higher ledges, but you sort of it's for very specific ledges. It's not dynamic at all. This is a climbable ledge. That's how it feels at the moment, anyway. So I'd like something a little more forgiving and a little bit more sort of like sensible, so I can just go, oh, this cliff is actually climbable. It doesn't have to be a very set, scripted thing. But I think they'll probably have ladder type, rock climbing areas and things like that as well. I would expect a reasonable amount of climbing, but a lot of it is going to be specific and deliberate. So it's not going to be as dynamic as I'd want it, like in Apex Legends, being able to vault up a load of different things and climb. It is going to be a lot more deliberate, because it makes sense for their procedural system. They don't want unintended odd things to happen. So just sort of bear that in mind. I won't disintegrate you, don't worry. I'm doing alright, thanks. I'm incredibly tired. My room is an absolute state. Got a load of dead basil plants because I just haven't had time to look after them. So I'm going to get some new ones and replace them. I've yesterday, so I accidentally sort of like took all the sheets off my bed the other day, just in a writhing, as I do. And last night, I over the weekend, I was so busy with streaming and making some video stuff and doing some work and helping out some other people doing some stuff, that I haven't had time to replace my bed sheets. So I'm just sleeping on a mattress, which is fucking awful for my back. So I'll sort that out later today, hopefully. Actually do bedding, have a shower. I've just been so busy over the last couple of days. Oh. Are there going to be non-lethal takedowns? I believe so, yes. So there's going to be less than lethal weapons, and ammo that you can change into some other weapons to make them less than lethal. There are going to be stuns and knockbacks as well, and I would expect that there are non-lethal full takedowns as well that you can do unarmed, or potentially with like stun baton or whatever. But I would expect that. Hey, do you know why the Sandworm and Takedowns and Dust Storms are still not in the game right now? Didn't they demo it back in 2016? Yes, so Sandworms, they were sort of like a scripted one-off thing. We'll probably see them on Layer 3 still, but that will be in the future when they have the Layer system in the game. On Layer 2 is, well, the good Doctor maps situated on Layer 2. So it looked like they are doing some stuff for the Layer system. Takedowns, Squadron 42 more than for the Persistent Universe. And Dust Storms, it looks like they have been working on dynamic, well, at least weather to some degree. So in the monthly report, if I can find it, where have I put the monthly report? I've got the roadmap open 3 times. Because I'm smart. Oh yeah, I'll talk about something funny in a minute. Weather? Extreme. So what's in the full productions also started on Microtech. So this is in the monthly report. When live, the landscape will treat players to a variety of frozen flora, snow-covered forests, fields and ice boulders, frozen oceans, and mountaintops with extreme weather conditions. But they've also talked about them working on the cloud cover system, and they've been doing a raindrop shader and all this sort of stuff. So it looks like they are working on some stuff for weather. Dynamic weather? Probably not at the first stage. Probably just sort of like scripted weather in certain areas. But more than just a light VFX or filter. Fantastic. It's finished my Vanguard variants tour. A very rough tour, which I'll get up after this stream. But I've just put up a 3.7 state of the PTU up if people are interested. Roadmap has a new Babbage V1 in 3.8 and V2 in 3.9. Any ideas on the differences? Yes. So they're opening new Babbage up more. So it's just going to be, I believe, one of the major domes with the microtech store in the center and some shops around it in the first version, and then they're opening it up to other domes and other areas in version 2. So it's just less new babbage in V1. Do you know when permanence or persistence will be introduced? So they have talked about this. They can decouple some of the full persistence features in the not-too-distant future, they have said. So we should be able to, at some point reasonably soon, be able to keep Alpha UBC and Alpha UBC purchases that we made in the game between major patch releases. So they don't need to reset, no more resets, or at least less resets. So they still need to reset the database, especially when they move over to UEC from Alpha UBC, when the game goes more live. And they might need to reset the databases for major changes as well, but they won't need to constantly reset them, which is fantastic. So that could be as soon as 3.8 in my opinion, but they did say that they are working on that. And it's something that they know they want to get in the near future, more generally for full persistence as well. They're working on server meshing and both static and dynamic after that, and server-side object container string, which comes before that as well. He's revealing a lot about the project. Are you talking about... I can't fucking remember his name. I will remember his name in a minute. His YouTube name's Blinky. But you see, revealing a lot about the project. Potentially, a lot of the stuff in the project in the past, in my opinion, and individual people at the company. Yeah, if you want to look at that, if you want to have that sort of analysis, great. He is looking at it, however, in a very critical, biased view. Again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. That's his opinion as well, and the lens that he's looking through that with. He does present a lot of facts for that. If you want to watch that, do it. No one's stopping you. Make your own decisions based on stuff. I see it as largely irrelevant, though. And you can disagree with me in that, but I like the direction that Star Citizen is going, and I don't think Star Citizen would be the game it is today without Sandy. So, will we have the ability to potentially communicate with NPCs and or players through the visual interface system seen in the Squadron 42 cinematics playing at the back of your stream? So, there is going to be... Well, we can do it in-game now in the Persistent universe. We can comms call people. There is going to be comms calls with characters. So, yeah. I believe we will be communicating with other characters. In the Squadron 42, obviously, we'll be phoning them. And they'll be replying to us. NPCs can't directly respond to a character because we can't talk to them. Unless there's a ways we can talk to them in the future and selecting options to talk to about things. But I would expect that... well, maybe we can use the inner thought system to say certain things. Our characters don't talk at the moment, do they? But we can click on responses in the inner thought when we talk like Wallace Clem and stuff. But we don't actually hear our characters say stuff. That's an interesting one. But yes, we will be communicating with comm systems and stuff like that with NPCs and players. I'm alright, mates. Today, thanks so much, Steve. I'm just tired. How about that Squadron 42, eh? Oh, music down, please. Sorry. I'll do that. Apologies. People have said that your head is shiny, bald, and magic. Do you have any comments? Are those rumours true? To some degree, yes. Yes. I mean, please don't walk up to me unaccosted and rub my head for good luck, though. I'm more worried about that now. When I was at CitizenCon, people touch me as I'm walking by. And who are you? And they know me because I've talked to them online for many years, but have never seen their faces. And they haven't said anything to me, so I don't even recognise their voices. But if they were chatting to me in text, where I could see an avatar next to them, I'd be more sort of like, oh, hi! Tricksy little hobbits. When do you think we'll be able to... Oh, thank you very much, Hannah, for the resub. Very much appreciated. 28 months, shit. I'm sorry that you've had to bear with me that long. When do you think we'll be able to log out from beds and log back into the same location? 3.7. Almost certain that it will be fully working for 3.7. It has been working mostly in 3.7 for me. For me, it has anyway, but I was talking to Darge about it and some other people, and it hasn't been consistently working for them. So we're not sure how it's going to work on larger ships with multiple beds and people logging in at different times. I thought Quantum Drive is a human development. Why do aliens have a different color and effects? Well, I mean, the Banu and the Xi'an, they had quantum before us, didn't they? Or at least ways of traveling. The idea is that their way of moving between systems and their quantum travel or whatever is just a slightly different technology or whatever. I'll find out in lore at some point fully. Have you noticed any mobiGlas fixes in 3.7? Not specifically. I wasn't having any problems with my mobiGlas double taking with 3.7i. That doesn't mean that was fixed. But 3.7 should be significantly more playable, and those sort of like really annoying little problems should be, a lot of them should be fixed. When will the Mantis go on sale? We believe it to go on sale on the 10th of October, so this Thursday. Hover mode was fine conceptually, better than floating turrets. Yes. But neither are appropriate for me. So the problem I have with hover mode is the landing. The landing aspect, I just want finer control when I'm closer to the ground. Bam. That's it. And this way they've done at the moment, it's gone too far the other way. But maybe they're going to be tweaking stuff in between. What has changed with the atmospheric in-flight model? In 3.7, not too much as far as I'm aware. It's the IFCS assist model is basically made when you're moving slowly. You sort of like have more refined. It slows down your acceleration, but unfortunately, there's what I think is a buggy side effect that you can just sort of like flip some ships just upside down and just sort of like hover around like that. That's not appropriate in my opinion. They have acknowledged that. So, has the nav map had any improvement? It's been especially rough for me lately. Expect quality of life improvements and tweaks, but so that it shouldn't just break. But I haven't noticed any improvements beyond from 3.6 really. It works consistently. So no, this is in the background. This is Squadron 42 Vertical Slice. So this is from a couple of years ago. I'm gonna have flying turrets until 3.8 until they weaken thrusters and atmosphere. So I'm hoping that they don't go for the full floating turrets thing for 3.7 live. I'm hoping they do something in between. But it's possible. It's possible that we don't get that fixed until 3.8. Yeah. DLC flight mode assist in 4.5. When you have low points, how do you push yourself to make content? I find myself deleting things I make shortly after creating it. Thanks. So I am bipolar, what was previously known as a manic depressive, and I have some anxiety problems that they originally thought was PTSD. So I have weird experiences when it comes to content. So I have odd low points, but I'm really good at managing my brain to go, stuff's not as bad as you think, you'll feel better, sort of thing. Bam, just get on with it. So I'm quite disciplined when it goes into just get on with it. Now, what I do is I have a huge list of content I want to do, and then highlight at the top of stuff that I think is most relevant at the moment. Yeah. So typically, I can look at that content, and while I'm not feeling a particular video, I might do some notes on something, and at some point within like a few hours, typically, I'll be into or be researching a part of one of those videos, which I'll then just go, fuck it, I'll do this one. Or sometimes I'll just do some gameplay. I'd like to get at least one video out a day where possible. 2 is going to be I want to start moving into getting 2 out a day once I've got my new PC, because I should be able to compile those videos significantly quicker. So it shouldn't be a problem. because I was spending like 2 hours at least on each video compiling and uploading. Even with speedier editing, just the actual videos loading in faster and stuff will help loads. Thank you very much, BoredEgg, Sir Flyby. Thank you very much for the resub. Very much appreciated. But yeah. So, motivation. It's a mixture of motivation and discipline. So, motivation, I find, comes and goes. And when you're inspired and motivated, fucking great. You can probably make a much better work. But as long as you've got discipline, it doesn't matter if you're motivated or not. You can still do what you need to do. So, I wouldn't delete anything. It's fine to make mistakes. It's fine to do stuff wrong. As long as you're not doing a video that is supposed to be, this is fact. As long as you're not supposed to be, presenting this as, this is what CIG have said on the matter. And that's entirely wrong. So Cater say their plan is to try and get a 3.7 live build for 3.7, it looks like, and that's what it appears to be, all that sort of stuff. If it's wrong and changes, cool. You were presenting the information that was correct at the time, or what you believe to be correct, as long as you're saying that. So. When will you start streaming in 1080p or 1440p? I probably can start streaming in 1080p again. I don't know why I switched it down. I might wait until I've got my new PC. I'll try 1080p on Friday, in-game. See if it works. When are they going to fix EMPs so the Raven isn't garbage anymore? At some point, there's going to be a full rework of distortion weapons and EMPs. I'm actually expecting that now after they get physicalized components in. So probably sort of like Q2 2020-ish time, Q2 to Q3. That's when I'd expect that sort of stuff. Take care of yourself, bud. You need you 100%. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. YouTube has labeled your game as 7 Days to Die. Has it, though? There's Star Citizen here for me. Is there Star Citizen for me? Is there Star Citizen for everyone else? Yeah, I streamed 7 Days to Die on Saturday with the Alpha 18. I love 7 Days to Die. I typically will at least play 7 to 14 days of it, of in-game days, which is like 8 hours or so for 7 days-ish, I think. An hour a day, maybe an hour a day. Yeah. Sort of like that time period when there's a new build. Cameron loves it and Zen really likes it as well, so we will play that together. I would expect we will have zombie-type foes in Star Citizen at some point. Just slow, derpy things. Or maybe, druggies that have taken a drug that just make them zombie-like. Does the Sentinel doesn't have an EMP on board, does it? Does the Sentinel have just an EMP they can fire? I didn't think it did. I thought it was going to have EMP missiles, but does it have an EMP that can just charge up as well now? Have I got confused? Mickey, tell me. Anyone tell me. Will we be able to enter buildings on ArcCorp in the future? It would be awesome to have interiors for them. So some of the buildings in ArcCorp will have interiors in the future. So some of the roofs you can land on, they have interiors and stuff like that there. Some of the other areas in ArcCorp will be opening up, yes. Not all of them. Not going to be a huge amount of just like random explorables there, but there'll be some. They say you can own your own apartments at ArcCorp eventually. Yep, that is the plan. And other places as well. And physicalized hangars for people as well. The 3.7.x, have they fixed the bugged missions, like bounty missions, where the bounty is not there? So some of the stuff at the moment has been removed. Other stuff is working as intended. There's a big bugs list there working through that's listed. I would expect 3.7 live build to have the game in the most playable state we've ever had, and I would have hoped they would fixed those missions. That's what I'm expecting to be fixed, yes. And cargo boxes not falling through the floor and things like that. When will we be able to hold on to items we've purchased in game, ships, etc.? So, as I said a little bit earlier, they are pushing towards having a system where you can have your AVUEC and AVUEC purchases kept between patches. It could be as early as 3.8 in my opinion, that they'll allow that. Yeah, so typically I'm a few minutes behind on answering questions. Probably about 10 minutes today at the moment. Still Wave 1 PTU, but I am expecting wider PTU, potentially even today, for like Wave 2, and an open PTU between now and the 10th of October. Potentially, if they haven't got the live build ready for the 10th of October, I would expect an open PTU. It's not gone to Wave 2 yet, has it? Gone to Wave 2 since I've been on air? Or... We're still Wave 1, aren't we? We're still Wave 1. I think we're still Wave 1. Pretty sure. Have you seen previews of the next Microsoft Flight Simulator? Looks amazing. I will check it out. Some people have said some great, good things about it. I've seen it advertised to me as well. Hey, Bored, I'm quite worried about your sentiments regarding you find it makes sense for them to continue concept sales post-release. I hope you don't mean you condone the idea. So, I mean, I'm a capitalist at heart. I don't mind too much if they are selling concept sales ships, as long as they're not objectively better than other ships. I don't mind them too much selling concept sales past post-release, in the same way that Warframe sell prime chassis at the earliest possible stage, as long as when they're in game, there's no lag between that and being in game. They go, it's in game now, you get it because you concept sold it, bam, and they're available in game to purchase. Now, I don't think that's sensible for all ships. I don't want objectively better ships done like that, and I'm not sure that that would work for giant capital ships that just give an organ advantage that buys them. Nor am I saying that I'm right with that idea, and I am happy to have my mind changed. And I'm not saying, do you see what I mean? I'm just saying it's a sensible option for CIG to do that, and I don't mind it too much. Though it could be a slippery slope, it could be very anti-consumer, it could be pay to win. There's lots of stuff that would need to be resolved to make it okay to do that. That's sort of my opinion on it at the moment. It's not formed enough to know. I don't want CIG to become a super money grubby company, admittedly. I do want the game to not be pay to win. It's obviously got pay to win elements because you can buy spaceships, and you could argue, yeah, if you continue those concept sales, then it's obviously going to have pay to win elements that you don't want. So it depends if it's handled, how it's handled. I don't see much of an issue with it because the other thing is, okay, they're going to be selling the in-game currency still. Okay, they're going to be selling that. That's part of their monetization model of post-release. They're going to be gold sellers. They're going to be companies where you can, whether or not it's against terms of service or whatever, buy currency for the game from. It happens in every game, whether it's an economy and multiplayer. So, am I okay with them doing concept sales post-release? Yeah, if they're handled right, I probably am. Do I condone them? I'm neutral about them and understand that they might be a necessity to have the game that I want. Well, they probably don't. There's definitely other ways of monetizing. It's a big subject, and I'm fine to discuss it further and be wrong in my current thinkings of it. I mean, what do other people think? Are other people really against them having concept sales post-release? And when I mean post-release, say feature complete for what we're aware of the features now, and the game has full persistence and is considered an on-the-shelf release. Would you, like all the chips that have been mentioned in-game, all of the roles are in-game, after that time, and we've got like at least 40 systems, are you okay with them still selling concepts ships, or are you like, no, they said they wouldn't? Or are you sort of like more flexible and like, well, if it's done right? Or is there no situation where that is done right? Mantis price guess. Between 180 and 240. I think at the very top end, Cyborg will be 250. But I think that because the ship only really has that quantum enforcement module on it, it doesn't have any. It has very little weaponry and stuff like that, and it's not a huge ship. That can make it reasonably cheap. Although, typically CIG sell ships for more and more and more as the time goes on. Do you know if these size 3 gimbals can be swapped for fixed size 3 tachyon cannons? No. So, the tachyon singe cannons, they've removed size 1 and size 3 tachyon cannons. And there's only size 2, and they can only be fit on the Banu Defender. In the future, there might be other Banu weapons, probably will be, that we can fit on the Banu Defender. That's a good point. Will they bring the size 3 tachyon cannons back? And then can you put them on fixed on the Defender? I don't know. I'd like that, though. Were there any informations on shop purchase bugs? Couldn't find anything on today's upload. People could not make any purchase through console and mobile and all servers on various days. There's obviously a break in the that particular service that handles shop purchases and the databases. Have you been to the army? Can you be more specific? I've not been in the army, no. I have friends in the military. I was going to ask if you are depressed. My sister's bipolar. I understand what it's like. Yeah, it's erratic. So when I used to go out a lot when I was younger, life of the party, sort of like really sort of like wanted to keep on drinking, stay out all night, all that sort of stuff. But I can get devastatingly depressed. And like also, I can cry at films, just anything that's emotional will just sort of break me. It's quite. I have a very interesting appreciation of films and art because of that. I'm not scared or worried about crying or anything like that. I don't give a fuck. So, give me a deeper appreciation of art. That's why I like you and your content. You don't speculate out of your ass. Bored. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sometimes I do. Like, hopefully I say when I do. Yeah, delete your user folder, install the latest GeForce drivers, assuming you've got a GeForce card. There were some 30k issues still, I noticed, over the last couple of days. So that's server disconnects and server crashing. But significantly better than we've had previously. Sentinel has an EMP on board. No EMP. EMP on board. EMP missiles, I thought. So I thought it was supposed to have EMP missiles. The Vanguard Sentinel currently has EMP, yes. I have to edit my video. Thank you. I'll do that once I've finished this this stream. Occasionally I miss things like that. It was supposed to have EMP missiles. So they've either given it a temp EMP, I would expect, or they've changed it so it's got a minor EMP. Sorry if you've answered this before, but what do you think we'll get? But do you think we'll get a live build on the 10th, since there was still just in first wave PTU? Well, I'd expect the PTU probably to open up to wider PTU today. And if it's not ready for live on the 10th, it will be an open PT for everyone. It was what I would expect for 3.7. My game has a fuzzy film grain effect that won't go away. I've reinstalled, got a new monitor cable, and even a new PC. It turns me away from playing. I'd expect it to. It was an odd issue that was that some people were having in 3.5 and 3.6. I'm hoping that's fixed in 3.7 fully, so it doesn't happen to anyone. take my patsy down into a mine and I put it on a rock, which is arguably where many Cornish pasties still are, ready to eat in my lunch break from mining precious shinies, will it still be there after a 30k? Not at the moment, Flymo. Not at the moment. Because the server would have restarted properly. But once we have deeper persistence, yes, they'll save states between patches, and it will be... So the interesting thing is that, is it saved on the server, and what server is it saved on, and will it be loaded in when you load back in? Which is probably what they'll do in the short term. With the new mission sharing, does the affect party functions outside of a mission? Say, setting a waypoint that other players can view. Well, you can quantum travel together, and when you're sharing a mission, you all see the details and the waypoint of that mission. They will be expanding the sort of like functionality of parties and sharing data more, though, in the future. Take care, buddy. What do you think of the state of Arena Commander at the moment? I quite like the changes to Pirate Swarm and the tweaks there, because it's new. The first couple of times I did it was incredibly easy. The time I played it with 3.7.0i, it was a bit harder. And I was like, oh, I got killed a proper couple of times by ships swarming me. So I like the idea of it having different modes and getting a bit of love. How come I couldn't put a delivery box in the rear seat of my Super Hornet? The box hovers over the seat. Because Alpha, I would like you to be able to just put things in seats like that, though. And maybe they will sort that stuff out properly. The idea is you're supposed to put cargo containers in cargo areas of ships. Otherwise, there's weird problems. When do they make it so that all previous armor worn will populate when selecting your chest piece and switching back to your clothes? So they made some changes in 3.6 so that all of your changes persisted on your ships, and at the same time attachments also persisted on clothing and weapons. Not a question, but a comment. I want to say thank you for all the time you dedicate and all the information you provide for all of this. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. But it's effectively my job. So I do it because I get paid from YouTube for doing it. People click on my affiliate links for like Shadow and stuff, and it makes me money. So I appreciate the love, and the reason I focus on Star Citizen is because it's easier access for me, because no one else was covering it at the time. I love it, so that's the main reason I started doing it. And I've got an absolute love for the community. And not all the parts of the community are like I have super love for. And there's obviously edge cases and some people that are dicks or whatever. But as far as it all goes, I find it quite interesting and entertaining in all the situations, and seeing how the community interacts with each other. And the interactions I have with people are typically pretty fucking awesome. Shite, don't let Bored for you, folks. He was in Beluga Corp, which is a branch of SBS, focusing on beluga communication and mating protocols. Thanks, bud. Thanks, Shite. I do look a bit like a beluga whale. It's my look. Thank you for staying as informed as you do. It helps a lot with keeping pace on the project. Cheers. Thank you very much for the super chat money. If people want to chuck money at me, you are fucking more than welcome to. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. To me, pay to win is when you can't buy stuff that is best you can't buy without spending real money. So, pay to win is definable in lots of different ways. The best way of defining it so everyone's on the same page, however, is anything that gives you any form of advantage. So, in that sense, buying ships does give you an advantage. You can then talk about, well, does that mean the game's going to be crap or whatever? Well, I don't think so. I think that as long as pay to win doesn't get out of control, as long as it doesn't go, you have to pay, or the best way of doing is paying to get this ship or this advantage, you can only get it with money or whatever, then as long as it avoids that, and there's inequality in game, which is sensible inequality, like, you know, NPCs have capital ships, you don't scream that they're paying to win, then it'll be fine. But we'll have to wait and see. We have to make sure, we have to be vigilant to make sure CIG don't get out of control with it. Do you think we have the, do you think we'll have player persistence, credits, and ships this year? Yes. I think that it's a strong possibility we can have it for end of year, 2018. 2018? 3.8 in 2019. I think pay to advance past the grind is pretty close to pay to win. I don't like ship sales and would prefer they 100% get rid of them. Okay, that's a reasonable opinion. Pay to progress is also kind of horrible, which is what most devs use an excuse. Yes, time savers. Which effectively what the sale of UEC kind of is. Let's go, well, you haven't got enough time to play during the week, but you can buy some Alpha UEC if you want to, or UC if you wanted to. So it has to be done correctly and appropriately, but obviously at the same time, they want to make money for the persistent universe once the game is fully launched, because it's buy to play, but they need to be able to support the servers. So selling Alpha UEC, selling UEC, bam. To me, that's exactly the same as them doing concept sales anyway. $300 for the pyro system. Oh man.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Thank you very much, Jersky. 96. Very much appreciated for the sub. Do we know the stats on the Mantis yet? Weapon size? I believe it's 2 size 2s. Small or medium shields? No, I don't know if it's small or medium shields. I would expect it to have probably 2 small shields or 1 medium. That would be my expectation. I would expect the ship to be reasonably tanky. Average mobility. Its main focus is just the quantum enforcement mechanics and being able to take a little bit of a hit, because it just doesn't want to be entirely made of glass. But expectation rather than 100% knowledge. I know it's got missiles. I know it's got, I believe it's got two size 2 weapons. Did you know what this new ship in grey box they're talking about for CitizenCon might be? Polaris, you think? I mean, it could be the Polaris, but I think it's more likely to be the Carrack or a new Anvil ship for for CitizenCon. Do you want me to get one of the circular lights for my face? Okay, fuck it. We'll sort something out. Do you think CIG should just charge a modest fee of, say, $5 to $15 a month after the game releases? That seemed to work for a while. Subscription system would have worked probably for Star Citizen. However, they have said that they're not doing that now. So to then say they're going to do it again is probably a bad idea for the game. I think they're not going to rule anything out though. If the only way they could continue doing the game in like 8 years' time was like, right, we've had a good run on everything, but we need to keep the servers going, we need to keep the game going, so we're going to have to start charging a subscription fee. I think that's a possibility. Unlikely, but it's a possibility. But they discuss it with the community probably. If I run a mission solo, then run the same mission shared, is the total payout the same, or do they increase the payout for shared missions? If you do exactly the same mission, with a party and without a party, the payout would be exactly the same, and then shared between everyone, so you'd get a significantly smaller portion. Yeah? So the amount of money that you can make from shared missions doesn't change. However, there are missions that are more difficult, which have higher payouts, which are intended to be done as shared missions. Doesn't dynamically change by having more people in your group, but there are some missions that are intended to be done as a group. You could do them solo and just make a fuck ton of money instead. I see a lot of hologram communication in the trailers, and I have been thinking for some time, will we be able to holo view video calls in game? So we've got the render to texture stuff. I would expect that any hologram stuff would be NPC only to start with. There's a possibility they could do hologram stuff in game for players as well, but I'm not sure if oh no, they've been working on some hologram tech. I just assumed it was for Squadron 42. I mean, there are holograms in like Area 18 and stuff. I suppose there's a potential you could do holo calls to people. I just suspect it wouldn't be for a while. I'm interested to buy the Micro Star Runner. Will it be on sale anytime soon? I'd expect that to go on sale potentially on the 10th of October, but certainly on the 23rd of November at the Anniversary Expo and CitizenCon around that time. Some people, well, I think that it's possible that the Mercury Star Runner will actually be out with 4.0 with the Hercules Starlifter. I'll fight your dad, 16. Thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I have PTSD. I'm the same like you on movies, dude. Any kind of emotion, happy stuff makes me cry too. I know, right? But it makes me appreciate art in a lot better way. Certain music makes me cry. Sometimes, but not other times. I can't deal with cats dying in films and anime. I just can't deal with it. I have a massive soft spot for cats. Fucking love cats. I really like how open you are about your condition board. I guess people who are struggling with this can really get some good tips and support about when it's going to be different for everyone. Like what works for me might not work for someone else. But there's no shame in being bipolar or having anxiety or being depressed or not being able to deal with your emotional state and needing help or needing to talk about it. There is no shame in that. That's not a weakness. That is just, communicate. What's the problem with communicating? The worst that, in my opinion, that will happen is that people will go, "You're very open about that. That's very, very encouraging. That's very good of you. It's very strong of you." And so, well, cool. Don't feel shame about that sort of shit. Acknowledge you're not perfect, and that's fine. No one is fucking perfect. People that tell other people that you're perfect the way you are, you're an idiot. And no one is perfect, and that is fine. You're perfectly fine the way you are. I'd say you're beautifully imperfect the way you are, and I want you to stay that way. And that is why I'm single. Love your show. Do you think Microtech will release before Christmas this year? So the idea is that Microtech and the version 1 of New Babbage will be in 3.8, which is by the end of this year. That's the hope. 3.7 has been so good, I find myself not wanting to go back to 3.6.2. Was it the same for you? Yes, I haven't played 3.6.2 since 3.7 went on Eva Carty, I think? Quantum Trump. No. Quantum Trump 2020. I started playing Mordau recently. The way you swing and fight with the mouse movements feels awesome. Can duck, dodge, and swing. Think CIG will go for a similar route for fighting. Not as in-depth as Mordau, but they are supposed to be having a combat punchy-punch system and sort of like weighted punches and stuff. I wouldn't expect something as in-depth, but something at least reasonable for hand-to-hand and melee fighting. I haven't noticed the film growing for me in the PTU. When do you think we will have NPCs in ships to make ships not feel empty? It's a good question. So actually walking around ships, they need to get a load of the AI FPS stuff working better so they can pathfind around ships and they can path around multi-physics grids. And when those physics grids merge, they go, I know that I'm on a station now. I know that I'm on the ground now. And they can move between those grids. They know that they're docked with the station so they can move off the ship. They are working on that stuff now. It's in the monthly report. We've been talking about it. I don't know when we're going to have it in-game. Don't know when we're going to have NPC crews. I wouldn't expect it too far after Squadron 42's release, though. Is the Bounty Defender not having pips a feature or a bug? So, it is sort of hit scan with its weapons. I would still like to see pip, though. Do you know what I mean? So I assume it's a slight bug, because I want to see a pip, because having a smaller dot within the larger reticle would help me aim. I'm reasonable aiming without it, as long as I'm within about 1,800 meters. The smaller ships I have a fucking terrible time with, though. Hi, Bored. Thanks for all the videos. I'm in a different time zone and cannot catch them live. I do thoroughly enjoy them, and what you do is awesome. Thank you. Love your face. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. In your opinion, when will we see the beginnings of persistence? As I said, I'm thinking we might get it for 3.8, and it would be the ability to, if that's the case, it would be the ability to save your Alpha UBC and Alpha UBC purchases between patches. Does the 890 jump consist of a stronger hull shields than intended for a luxury cruiser? Yesterday we had 2 griefers that parked outside 890 at Area 18. Hammerheads couldn't take them out. Yeah, so they improved the shields and fixed a lot of the stuff with the 890. Hammerheads couldn't take them out. I would expect the Hammerhead to be able to take them out. So, not intended is what I would say that. What language are you speaking? Sorry, I can't speak Banu, Xian, Tavaran, or Vandel. Question. Is there some sort of indicator of which missions are shareable with party? So, most missions are. I believe all missions are, actually, technically. Or will be. No, actually, maybe not all. Most are. I haven't tested it with everything. So, most missions should be shareable. However, there are missions that are specifically meant to be harder and work with better for being shareable. Like, you're not supposed to be able to complete them solo. Mantis in PTU soon. So the Mantis is being flown around by devs at the moment in the PTU, but not by players. So probably today is when I expect the Mantis. But maybe they're waiting for the 10th to release it. Do you have any idea when we can multi-crew in Arena Commander? They've been working on it. It's something that's coming, apparently. Or at least it's something they're thinking about. Once I got the Hammerhead in Wave 10, no one to launch torpedoes in my Vanguard Harbinger. If not multi-crew, we need blades. No, I can see... Yeah, I'd like multi-crew in it sooner rather than later. Is it worth exploring caves on Daymar and other moons? I've only been to one that is marked from the contract at the moment and would like to find more. Yes, it's worth going there. There are other missions in other caves as well. Get a backpack. And you can get it in Polodosar, I believe. Get a backpack and a mining tool. So the multi-tool and mining attachment, which you can get in Delamar or Area 18 or Hurston on Loville, in Loville. And then you can make like 30k after we see with a full backpack, well, up to of minables. So for me, it makes no difference in the game if someone has a fleet of capital ships like a bin in UEC and then you have an Aurora. It's an open universe sandbox that a person with a fleet of capital ships and a bin in UEC can live out their life in their space, and I can live out mine. Sort of. I think there's going to be a lot of like orc wars and stuff. I mean, you could say the same for Eve, I suppose. But yes, there's definitely the sandbox element and the it's your adventure element for Star Citizen. Now they've released the handheld mining tool, meaning we don't need to buy a prospector to mine. Do you think that we'll get a quantum interdiction device that you can put in your pocket? No, I do not. But they will have quantum interdiction devices for other ships in the future, not just the Mantis. For you, what would be the most exciting unannounced reveal of a flight-ready ship during CitizenCon? Any of the big Squadron 42 ships, a capital ship that's straight to flyable, carrier ship that's straight to flyable. That'd be amazing. Am I right for remembering that Cloud Imperium's plan is to reset backers progress at the Star Citizen's release? So reputation, Alpha UEC, and UEC. Does that upcoming persistence mean that's no longer the plan? So they are likely to reset everything when they move over to UEC from Alpha UEC, whatever. But the moment them saying they can decouple progression does not preclude them also doing resets as well. But I would still expect to reset during the beta phase, or after the beta phase, just before live. Anniversary sale 2019 start date out yet? So expect a anniversary October sale on the 10th of October of some degree, is what I would expect. And on the 23rd of November at CitizenCon, there's the Anniversary Expo, which should be like a couple of weeks of sales. Will there be a ship sale at Christmas? Maybe? Answer on holograms. They've been working on hologram stuff. Even on one of CitizenCons or PAX shows, they had a holo call between 2 players with VoIP, I'm pretty sure. But that was sort of like, rather than a holo call, that was sort of like a rendered to texture rather than actually a hologram of them. Do you see what I mean? Could we hologram fauna like a holographic giant sandworm to use as a decoy? So, talking about that, there is supposed to be Joker decoy gadgets that you can throw on the floor, which will like spoof a signature of a player, but also have them there holographically. The idea is they attract bullets. Jump points are rumoured to be shown at CitizenCon. How would you feel if it isn't shown then? Oh, that is a good point. How disappointed would I be if they didn't show jump points or a new system or something? Quite disappointed. They'd have to show something else amazing for me to not be disappointed by them not showing that. I mean, I'd be fine with alien races, new planets, cool Squadron 42 stuff, Squadron 42 release date, new ships, big ships, straight available stuff. But I do really want to see a jump point and new system now. What aspects of EVE would you like to see Star Citizen adopt? So there's a huge scope and scale in EVE. I like the way that org fights are done. I like the way that small-scale engagements used to be done. So you used to be able to have a small group of players alpha striking things and intercepting trade routes and stuff like that. So the piracy and criminality stuff worked quite well in my opinion. There's some good Wild West stuff with wormholes and the building of bases. The economy, love the EVE economy. However, I don't think it's entirely appropriate for Star Citizen. So a player-influenced economy, great. And I would like them to look at the EVE economy and assimilate some parts of it, certainly. But it's just the large scale of EVE, the huge amount of modularity of the ships and fittings for ships that I'm looking forward to tweaking in my ships in Star Citizen and going, what's the actually right build for this particular thing. If they can make mining so that people can chill out and enjoy mining and enjoy hauling, so it's space trucking simulator, oh, that would be great as well. I just like how all the different sort of... I'd like to see manufacturing in Star Citizen and base building to a larger extent as well. So I'm hoping they do something like that. But it's just sort of like how all of the disciplines support each other in EVE. And it sounds like they want to do that in Star Citizen. And if they have all these sort of roles supporting each other and have the NPC sort of contingent there as well, which they're part of that, I think they could have a really cool economy. It's just the only game I stream. Not all the time. Sometimes, especially on Twitch, I stream other games. I was streaming 7 Days to Die on the weekend. But, Mudaha. Mordhau. Destiny 2 has a reward system that has 2 tiers of rewards as you unlock levels. Would this be a good idea for CIG to handle subscriber fees? $10 to $20 in the future. I think it's okay for them having voluntary subscribers as long as they don't get anything too powerful. As long as it's only aesthetic items they get in game. I don't know. I mean, they need to entirely revise their monetization model for me to consider stuff like that or to look at it. Which devs that have moved on do you miss the most? So I know Ben hasn't fully moved on, but I do miss Ben a lot. I think Ben was a good chap. Wingman? I think I quite like Wingman. I mean, not massively attached to any of the individual devs, really. I mean, I love Steve Bender and Josh Coons and Tony Zerovic and obviously Chris and Aaron and people like that. But you know, I'm pretty chill. People move around. Do you think we'll be able to have hand-to-hand fights in green zones? So, yeah. So when they move over from sort of like the armistice zones to something that's more like anything like violence is illegal here unless you're a bounty hunter or unless the person's a criminal or whatever, or unless they start something. I think that, yeah, you'll be able to have fist fights, you'll be able to pull your gun and stuff, but you may get fines, charges, attacked by the guards. You mentioned that CIG is still working on the UI for the Defender. Yes, so they're getting a better UI in there. Do you think they'll change the voice and audio for the ship as well? Yes, I actually do. Well, maybe not. I would expect them to. You like the dispassionate Google Translate? I mean, it's possible, because it's not in Banu, so it's the human version of the ship, so... When bounty hunting comes in, how do you think the animation will look? For example, over the shoulder, dragged by the collar. There's going to be a dragging. I'm not sure what it's going to be like. Fireman's carry, dragging the people. Don't know. Yeah, it might be carry. When will ships' positions be shared and persistence between servers? I want to be able to log on my ship in open space and spawn there the next day. So bed logging should work much better in 3.7 now. So you should be able to log off in your bed and log back in the same place you logged off, as long as you logged out in the bed. But when our server's going to be able to seamlessly hand stuff over and save them where you are in space properly, all the time consistently, probably server meshing a little bit later. What is the secret important ship? What if the secret important ship is the Banu Merchantman? She's not on the roadmap, and the Defender... Oh, I see. No, I don't think the Banu Merchantman. I think the Banu Merchantman next year we'll probably see. Probably like next year at CitizenCon. Do you have to remove the backpack to sit in the pilot seat? No. But in the future you should have to. Is this subscriber chat only? Nope. Is there a possibility we will get not one, but 2 ships for CitizenCon? Yes. There's a possibility it'll be more than 2, and vehicles as well. Does the backpack have different colours, or is it all yellow? All yellow at the moment. I'm going to be that one guy. Do you have any cheeky news on the Redeemer? No, well, beyond that... I believe it started production again. Not 100% confirmed, but I believe it has started production again. It's going to be Aegis still. It was confirmed at the Concierge event. And it's a gunship. It's more focused on being a gunship rather than a people carrier of any description, so. What kind of RP depth would you like to see on ships and in the verse? Cargo loader? Cleaner? Steven Seagal chef? Where does it end? Under siege? Wow. That's a nice reference, Flymo. We're going to see lots of NPCs going around doing all those sort of roles. And I suspect that some people want to roleplay lots of different things. So it's going to be pretty sandboxy Star Citizen. So yeah, if you want to be a janitor. I mean, if you've watched any of the like GTA 5 roleplay videos, then the sky's the limit. The galaxy's the limit. Do you think we are anywhere near being able to apply the F7A kit for that? So that's the military skin. I would expect that to probably be available after Squadron 42's release. It's probably a very low priority for CIG. What system? So I believe the next system CIG will release is probably going to be Pyro, although they do seem to have built a lot of random bits for the Lear system, which is miles away from everything else. There's the Odin system that they've worked on for Squadron 42. But I would expect Pyro, that's connected to the Stanton system. Magnus is also a possibility for the near future, but I would expect Pyro and then them working towards Odin system with going to like Nyx and stuff like that. We're all basically Star Citizen tourists at the moment. Do you think they will add some way to open the door like lower ramps on your ship from the Moby Glass? No, they don't want that sort of remote use, as far as I'm aware. As far as ship customization goes, do you think CIG will extend the ability to physically paint your ships and create custom decals within the verse during future iterations? It's something that I believe they are considering. I would like to see it. I would like to see much more customization of ships rather than just basic customization. I'd like to have custom decals. Have you been able to inquire about how Ben is doing, like you said you previously tried to do? Yeah, so from what I've heard, Ben is still working on Jump Point. He's doing his own podcast, as well now for Wing Commander stuff. He's obviously had problems with his eyes, so he's not appropriate to work in the office, as far as I'm aware. So I believe he is doing well. Where will the ship expo be this year? I believe it's going to be on Area 18 ArcCorp, or ArcCorp at the very least. Board, do you think the NPCs are happy with the current 3.7 changes? We've been shot at multiple times in Lawville Spaceport by security. There are people everywhere. I think they're happy, yeah. I don't know how to judge happiness of NPCs. Does bed log off work on planetary services now? It has for me, yes. I've been able to land relatively close to a cave and log out in a bed. Do you expect the Titan suit to be playable in 3.8? I'm hoping it is, but I'm not expecting it. So we know that they've... Well, actually, let's have a look on the... Some stuff's moved around. So let's have a look at the Squadron 42 roadmap very briefly. So Q4 2019, they've got the Titan suit planned for Squadron 42. So by the end of this year, she'll be working for Squadron 42. So it's possible it could be in 3.8. I'm hoping it fucking is. I hope they show them at CitizenCon. It's one of the things I'm most excited about. In your recent videos, you seemed optimistic about no more resets happening sooner rather than later. Is this true? Yes, I am optimistic about it. What do you want from me? I think that it's possible that it could be in 3.8. They've been working towards that. They've been talking about decoupling full persistence and sort of like this partial persistence of saving Alpha UBC and Alpha UBC purchases between patches. And I think that's a strong possibility for 3.8. Hey, Bored. I was bored at work, so I started watching your channel. Thank you. Appreciate it, mate. So I was just discussing new gameplay that we might get for 3.8 and what we're getting in 3.7, among other things, but it's more answering people's questions, and that was just one of the subjects. So for the rest of the 3.8 stuff, like, I think, well, they added quite a lot more into 3.8. We know that they've got sort of like plans for FPS combat, so actually punching people, like melee and knifing, potentially takedowns, some people have said. Microtech and the first sort of like implementation of new Babbage is planned. Now this is going to be partly dependent on can they get at least some optimizations in for the servers, can they get server object container streaming in, at least in part. So I'm hoping they are able to do that. They should be able to do that. Rest stop interior was moved here as well. So basically the large base stations that we now have in game will actually have proper interiors for them. And there's a lot more variation of those interiors and more rooms and more areas and stuff like that. We'll also have all the moons from Microtech, assuming Microtech's in. Lots and lots of improvements for AI. Lots and lots of polish for some of the stuff that's got finished for Squadron 42 that's then put into the persistent universe as well. But I'm expecting quite a lot of AI improvements for 3.8 then, especially to do with pathfinding, AI moving around the verse, and NPCs on foot potentially being able to be in locations like caves, potentially. Expect more missions. So they're obviously trying to get missions so that there are more difficult missions that are more focused on people needing to share them and work as a group. Star Citizen is a multiplayer game. We're also getting the Carrack, which is probably one of my favourite ships in the world. But also, after seeing the Banu Defenders quantum travel, I'm incredibly excited for the Asperia Prowler. So that's going to be the first Tavaran ship we've had in game, and I'm looking forward to what beautiful effects it has for its quantum travel. There's some expectations that we might have some more medical gameplay or something interesting with the Cutlass Red being in 3.8 as well. That's a maybe. We've got a first handheld missile launcher with the Animus missile launcher, which I'm very much looking forward to as well. And then lots of sort of like V4 improvements for planetary tech, so that this is going to be improvements to the visual quality of assets, hopefully not popping in when you're coming towards a planet, general just visual improvements, better procedural generation of things for planets, potentially. That would also include caves and stuff like that as well. Expect them to tweak that. Do you think the Vandal Blade ship will ever use the impractical blades on the ship, or are they just for show? I think they'll use them. I think they'll be useful to some degree. Armor. When will it be properly implemented? I see shields on the roadmap, but no armor. My poor SH. So they are building a physicalized damage system, which is going to be done, I believe, for Q4 20 this year for Squadron 42's needs, and then they'll bring it into the game along with, at some point, physicalized components. So that's what we need in game: physicalized components, the physical damage system, and then armor is actually a component and has proper use. Where are we with server meshing? Sorry if it was asked earlier. I just logged on. Robert, so we know they are working on server object container streaming, and these are and various other optimizations for the server, including server to actor, server to client reworks for the actor. So you basically have an authoritative server rather than client authoritative states. So they're trying to improve the downstream and upstream data, so and remove animation sort of like delays, so we don't have 250 milliseconds on animations. People shouldn't be janky and teleporting around. Hit prediction should be pretty good. Trying to get that sort of stuff in. They're trying to get server object container streaming in, which is essential for server meshing, and then they can start working on static server meshing in earnest, which will have each of the planets and major areas all run by a single server, and then seamlessly hand data between them, and then dynamic server meshing, which is going to have each individual object container be able to dynamically become a server, or give that server that object container to another server at will based on population. So expect to see, in my opinion, server meshing next year. Static server meshing next year. Dynamic server meshing further out. But by end of next year, I would expect to see static server meshing in game. What's the highest pay you've seen in 3.7 with the share mission system? I don't know. I cannot remember. I will look at it later today, if I get time. I'll try and get a video actually up on it in the next couple of days of doing a mission sharing mission and talking about payouts and what's appropriate. Well, thank you very much, Boo Huxley. I love your face too. Speaking on melee combat, do you think we'll be able to fight in water? Oh. We need water in game properly, not just sort of like a kill box when your head's underneath it. Swimming mixed with combat? I don't know. Do you think the grey market will end when the game enters beta, or they keep gifting packs or ships? Or they just keep it? I don't know. The terms of service might change to disallow the grey market. There'll always be a black market though for games. Always. Since we're getting down to the wire, to the showdown, who do you think will win? Cutlass or Hammerhead? Cutlass. So, I talked about it the other day in one of my videos. I said these ships will probably win. Let me bring up the thing, and you can see it as well. They've got the ship showdown at the moment. What's this still currently on? Hammerhead and the Vanguard Warden. So, we're going to have the top four are going to be the Cutlass Black, the Caterpillar, the Reclaimer, and almost certainly the Hammerhead. And then I would expect the winner to be the Cutlass Black. And either the Reclaimer or Hammerhead to be second. Yeah. That's my expectation. So those are the top four. And then it's going to be revealed on the 10th of October. So expect something special to be done with that ship and potentially the top four ships. Either they go on sale or have special skins or there will be a particular loadout, or they'll be available as a pack, or something like that. 10th of October is when we're expecting 3.7 to potentially go live, or an open PT for everyone, when the Mantis is supposed to go on sale. It is the original anniversary date for Star Citizen for its announcement on Kickstarter that it is a game and looking to fund money, crowdsource money. So it's the 10th of October is a special date for them, and I would expect to see a lot of cool things happen on that date. It's not CitizenCon. It typically was CitizenCon, but they moved CitizenCon back to the 23rd of November to correspond with the Anniversary Expo. But I would expect sales and stuff on the 10th of October as well. 23rd of November, CitizenCon. Bam. If you want to vote on ships, then please do that. Any word on the guild system? I know that they want to have the guild system in. I know that they had been working on it. So the guild system is NPC, sort of like factions that you can have an affiliation to, such as a rescue faction or sort of like a truckers guild that would get you better prices on fuel if you need fuel as a service beacon, or bounty hunters guild that would give you data and share information on bounties, but it's NPC run subscription services and things like that, and factions. I'd like to see that sooner rather than later. I would expect to see it next year. What's the minimum number of players you'd like to see in your container at full release? In each individual object container, 200. The minimum I'd like to see. I think aiming for 200 players per each individual room is probably a good shout. And then it'll be whatever the maximum number they can get. If they can get 1 million in, they fucking will. When will we be able to select on ships that we have hangars on with smaller ships spawned inside them? They said they were going to be working on that, and they are going to effectively be an attachment point in the ships so that you can put those in as a loadout. I'm not sure when that's coming, though. How is EMP supposed to work on completed phase? They haven't really 100% confirmed that stuff now. I'm expecting the EMP to work as a distortion weapon when they actually finish it. Where will you be able to buy a HAL series? In the ship shops, in-game, and on the website when they're on sale again? What's taters precious? The potatoes. The potatoes. What star system do you think CIG is going to release at CitizenCon? Pyro. What team would work on the Merchantman? And where should they be working now? I'd like to see them do the Polaris first before the Merchantman. I want to see both ships next year. I think that after they've done all the work for CitizenCon, I think that some of the teams, the 890 team will go back and do some tweaks to the 600i. I think that's the plan. Cheering for you, hubby. Thank you very much, Mr. Pinks. Thank you for the love. Very much appreciated. Oh, man. Okay. So let me show you this. This is funny as fuck. This is what I found hilarious joke from Twerk. But it's got blown out of proportion. Let me show you. Oh, man.
A-Y-Y-Y, bored, love.
Aye, bored, love. Thank you very much, Alfred. Very much appreciated. Tweets and replies. It's good. Let me bring this up. Are we on desktop? We're on the desktop. So, let me go here. Let me go here.
It's true.
Let me do this.
You ever watch BoredGamer's videos?
No,
Don't. They're bad.
So Okay, I find that fucking funny. Me and Twerk are really good friends. Salty Mike and me are really good friends. And that is the sort of bants we have. So someone sent that to me, like, as he did it, as a clip. And I said, mate, tell me what you think, you monster. But some people thought I was being serious, and he was being serious. Like, oh my God. He messaged me and went, Bored, you know I love you, right? I was like, yeah, I do. Don't worry. But look at you squirm. And then Nuba Fire said, oh, yeah, he hates mine too. And then people thought we were being serious. He got really upset. Twerk was worried that people hated him. Oh, mate. Funny shit. Mate. I thought that was fucking funny. I love you, Salty Mike. I love you, Twerk, whatever the fuck you're called. You are one of my favourite people. And keep on with the bants, even if other people don't understand. Shit, son. I know, right? Poor guy. I felt genuinely sorry for him. I think he just worries about stuff too much. He genuinely like loves the community. He's like, people think I was being serious. There's no context to this. Next time I'll put a big disclaimer of, this is someone I like and I am fine with. Or maybe I just won't. Maybe I'll just make him squirm. Do you think professions will be balanced in terms of, if you like exploring, you will make enough money to do that? Or do you think you'll have to mine cargo and stuff first before? I think eventually the economy is going to be pretty dynamic. So some professions are going to make more money than others. And it's going to be dependent on where you're going, how safe the area is, risk and reward, lots and lots of different things. So I think there will be ways of making a lot of money with each of the professions. But it's going to be based on your risk and reward and lots of other factors as well. And the sort of time it is on those servers. In the economy, and the time, literally the time that's going on, whatever's happening at the time. That's what I mean. Fuck me, I had problems with words. Is there some harvestables outside of caves? Yes. You can find harvestables on asteroids. You will see lootables and harvestables outside of caves as well. Yes. That's the idea. I don't think I've seen fruit trees. I haven't even looked for them. I'll have a look. I'll have a poke. How many starting locations and planets do you anticipate we'll get to choose from in Star Citizen? Probably like 4. Something like that. Seems reasonable, right? Have they fixed supply and demand for trading? It's an ongoing iteration. When will NPCs or computer blades be able to control our ship turrets? So, if you steal an NPC ship now, the ship does fire and target your target. So, I don't think we're too far off having NPCs or at least computer blades controlling turrets and ships. But I don't know when. Potentially next year. Yeah, I'm hoping that they just suddenly go, and the Taurus is now available. I'm surprised that the Taurus isn't available yet. We did a video on rental ships on both Area 18 and Hurston to show what's at both planets. Yes. 100%. And their prices. I've got a mini tutorial series coming up where I will look at individual mechanics and go, this is how you do FPS mining. This is where you get the tool. These are the places you can do it. This is how you do it. Bam. Done. So like 2-3 minute videos like I used to do with Diablo 3. When can we expect our money not to reset? I think the earliest time we would have that is 3.8 at the end of this year. If we're lucky, that's what I think, potentially for 3.8. Do you think we will potentially see more industrial-based mining machinery in Star Citizen regarding building a station or maintaining org-owned stations? I think we might see station building, and I think they want to have station maintenance from orgs, but I have no idea exactly how that would present itself as gameplay. Gord, how's the PTU and the Defender? Love it. Love the look of the ship. I wish I had pips for the, even though it's sort of like supposed to be hit scan, wish I had pips still so that I could see within a reticle, especially when they're further away where I'm supposed to shoot at. I really like the Defender. when do you think we'll start to see more fauna? Or any fauna, for that matter. I think we'll probably see some stuff at CitizenCon. Don't know when it will be in game. They did talk about they are starting to work on alien races and alien animals for the game in a bit more sort of in a bit more detail in the monthly reports. So I would expect to see some form of animals starting to appear next year, potentially end of next year. So, Death of a Spaceman, no, is in the persistent universe. You'll have a certain amount of lives. So you can die a few times, whatever. You might be able to restore those lives. But basically, your ship explodes, whatever. You'll wake up in a hospital, or somewhere else, or in a prison, potentially a slaver's bay, whatever. And you're sort of like, you're not dead. And if you keep on dying repeatedly and you don't do anything about it, then eventually your character will die, and you'll start a new one. However, you'll get all of this sort of like loot and items and ships and lots of stuff. At least most of your monetary wealth will go to your new character. Your next of kin, effectively. Just as a thought, but is there a way you could pull out the question you are answering on the stream and put it on screen? It would help the folks like me. It would take me fucking ages to do. I'll think of a system for it, though, probably in the future. Any news about NPCs on board more cruise ships? Not really. Not more than I haven't just talked about. Commodities profits in the PTU are pathetic. Do you think they will stay that bad in the PU? No. They've got to balance that stuff. They've got to make it a bit more dynamic. I mean, I know we're only trading within the same system, but they need to make it at least semi-profitable. Otherwise, there's not going to be people cargo hauling. And you want that if you've got the cargo interdictors. Any news on outposts and that kind of gameplay? They wanted land claim gameplay at the end of 2018, but obviously they've rescheduled everything. So I still think that outposts and land claim gameplay is on the cards. At least the land claims and surveying portion of it. Oh, thank you very much. Great one. Thank you very much for the $4.99 and Scrag took on musical. Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Oh, very much appreciated. Any news on the 600i fixes and rework? No, so I would expect the team that's doing some stuff for CitizenCon, some of the guys that finished the 890 jump, they're going to do some stuff for CitizenCon, and then they'll be going back to the 600i to do some light fixes and rework to it. I wouldn't expect something huge or anything, but I would expect it to be slightly more in line with the 890 jump. Don't expect a fully redesigned ship. Right, do we have any other questions? Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to bio real quick. How you know you're getting older? Oh. Right. Coming back to death, do you think they might do, instead of 9 lives or more, a status-based system or character condition calculating potential death each time you die? Sort of. I think they'll be sort of like, it might depend on the way you die, how many times you died recently in a row. I suspect there'll be ways of getting lives back, by like or medical insurance, or paying to have yourself regenerated, or something like that. Why the Threadripper? Do you think Star Citizen will ever use that many cores? So it's not just for Star Citizen is because I record and stream and compile videos and stuff. So more sensibly, I'll update this slightly because I will be looking at Threadripper, the 395X Ryzen, and the Intel 10 series. I will be looking at them all because they're all coming out pretty fucking soon, and making a choice based on the most sensible option for my needs. Do you think there will be other purposes to computer blades besides making defense/remote turrets on your ship? Yeah, potentially. There might be ones that make it harder to pull you out of quantum or something like that. And then those computer slots might be able to be used for stuff like that as well. So support utility, quicker quantum travel, coordinate crunching, things like that. That's the sort of stuff I would expect for that. Quicker targeting, quicker scanning. Do you think that some jump points you find should be dead ends? In other words, they don't take you that far. Yeah, I think they should take you between systems. In the same system. Sort of like have a mini jump point to take you around and stuff. Any black hole objects planned for the universe? Yeah, there's a black hole system. I haven't seen anything more on that, other than it exists in the star map. Death, that's precisely what I was expecting, a percentile system which will work off your character's recent condition or injuries, increasing death or limb loss with more recent injuries and sprains. Yeah, something like that I'd expect as well. Potentially more likely to die if you're in very, 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 very dangerous space and you get killed and you've already been killed a few times, things like that. What is the chance that I can win that character you're giving away? I don't know the exact chance, but it depends on if you've been commenting on my videos, doesn't it? Joe's got more. It's either 0% or 100%. So either you're going to win or you're not. Other people might call that 50-50. 50%, you either win or you don't. Yeah? I like to look at stuff after it happens and go, well, I could have won the lottery. If I've won, it's a 100% chance I've won. If I have lost, it's a 0% chance I've won. It's an interesting way to look at maths, right? What year do you think we'll see a black hole system or binary star and watch them rise over the horizon? I don't know. Probably quite easy for them to do a black hole system because they'll just go, some cool effect. That's it. I don't need to put anything else in that system, really. 1 in 4,000 if you comment on every video, you think? I think that's quite reasonable. I think that's overly reasonable. It's closer to like 1 in 10,000 than I'd expect, but... Right. So, I think that on Thursday, we're going to have a load of cool stuff happening. Probably some ship sales, maybe a video from CIG talking about something. Maybe some cool stuff with the ship showdown, the Mantis scale on sale, 3.7, hopefully a live build, but quite possibly just an open PTU for everyone, and maybe a free flight. Maybe these ships are going to be part of the free flight as well. Sort of like the ship showdown ships. They go, oh, the top 4 ships are free to fly because it's only flyable ships they were looking at. So things like that makes sense for me for the 10th. I'm getting ready for CitizenCon. With that in mind, I'm going to start a thread on my Discord and on some of my YouTube videos saying, what questions would you like me to ask devs at CitizenCon? And would you like me to interview anyone else or find out any questions or whatever? Please drop your questions sort of like below. So I'll start doing this week, gathering a thread for that. Anyone that's going to CitizenCon, happily meet either at CitizenCon or the day before. I'm going to be in Manchester the day before. So please, it would be good to say hi. Very much looking forward to 3.7. Looking forward to CitizenCon. But yeah, when's the anniversary? So 10th of October is Star Citizen's anniversary. So their original sort of like Kickstarter announcement anniversary. However, the 23rd of November is what is referred to as the anniversary expo or whatever. There's like 2 anniversaries you can get confused between. The main one, the main anniversary thing, 23rd of November. It's CitizenCon, big anniversary sale, loads of cool stuff happening. The one that's coming up on Thursday, the 10th of October, is something a bit smaller, as far as we're aware. A lot smaller. It's not CitizenCon. Pine Sign Wave USB. I do need to get a USB UPS Universal Power Supply at some point. Uninterruptible power supply. Sorry. Just for to get clean power and to make sure that I don't lose all my fucking shit when my power goes out or whatever. Although it doesn't really happen much in the UK. Touch wood. Brexit. No more power. I can't get that power from Europe. What's your opinion concerning the new Pirate Swarm and Arena Commander? Isn't it too easy? I found it nice to see more ships as the tanner. What ships would you like to fight against? I'd like to fight against everything in at some point. Lots more modes for Pirate Swarm would make me a lot happier. I found it a bit more difficult in the latest PTU. So the 3.7.0 J patch or I patch, I and J. Before that, I found it very, very easy. It's still not too much of a challenge. Thank you very much for all the subs and donations and follows and YouTube members and people chucking money at me. It is very much appreciated. Are there any more questions? Because if there are no more questions, I'm going to go and eat dinner, and I'm going to record, add a little tiny section to a video that I was just about to upload, saying, and this Vanguard Sentinel currently has an EMP, but this might change to EMP missiles in the future. We're not entirely sure what's happening with it. What story development / progression, if any, would you like to see the game take on in the future? What, for Squadron 42 or for Star Citizen? I want to see big sort of arced story quests for Star Citizen where possible. I mean, the thing is that they're relying hugely on procedural generation for missions. So it's harder to do sort of like the more roller coaster missions with that, although there will be some. When it comes to like big things happening in the game, I'd love there to be alien sort of like Cold Wars, like there to be a war with Xi'an. I'd like there to be Vandal incursions and us taking back Vandal systems. There's sort of like things that could happen every quarter and people get involved with. What do you think the worst case scenario would be if Crytek wins the lawsuit? Well, they wouldn't. They'd only win a very small fraction of. A lot of that stuff's already been dismissed. So even if they win now, it would be Star Citizen has to pay a certain amount of money below $2 million would be my expectation, because that's how much the original license agreement was. And sort of like the thing is that if Crytek are the prevailing party, they'll have to pay Crytek's fees as well, which are probably going to be a lot less than CIG's anyway. So I think it's more likely that CIG will be the prevailing party or they're settled, but I don't know. But worst case, Crytek, CIG would have to pay a couple of $1 million and Crytek's legal fees. That's what I believe anyway. I am not a lawyer, although I did study law at university, but I can get into that. I just got my first exotic weapon in Destiny 2 while watching a video. Thanks for the juju. No worries. I'm here for all the juju. What about third-person camera allowed only by external physical camera? Yes, I like the idea of a little drone flying behind you. If you wanted to have you want to do 3D stuff in a ship or in your moving around third person with your character, have a little drone there. Have a little arm with a camera, whatever. I always refer noobs to your site. When do you feel there will be time to do a new tutorial? I'm going to be doing a new tutorial for 3.7. So I'm also going to be doing a mini tutorial series looking at every individual mechanic and how to do it and explain it as quickly as possible. So hand mining, bam, go to caves, lootables in caves, FPS minables in caves. This is where you get the mining tool. This is how you fit it to the gun, and this is how you mine something, and this is where you sell it. Bam, done. Just like 2-3 minute videos. Each of the modules. But I'll do a Start Here, Star Citizen full guide of how to do everything. So exactly the same as my previous ones, but with updated mechanics and controls. How complex do you think the Squadron 42 story will be? I'd rather not another scary monsters kill nice humans type story. It's going to be Vandal attacking humans and threatening the colonies. They're a big threat, and we have to try and deal with them. But why are they attacking? That sort of stuff. We don't know. We're dealing with them. Maybe some pirates we'll have to fight as well. And we're like, oh, why is there pirates going on here? If you played Free Space 2. I expect some elements of Free Space 2 story. You're fighting some humans and some humans to start with, then the sort of Vandal get involved, and you're like, oh shit, we've dealt with the pirates, but now there's the Vandal, or we're dealing with the pirates, now there's Vandal. So you sort of like deal with the Vandal, and the pirates are still annoying you, and that sort of stuff. And there's probably some intrigue with the Vandal going, well, maybe they're attacking us because we're dicks to them, or something like that. Just so you know, if you're going to spend that much money, what? What's he talking about? Less bored. What? Bored stated earlier he thinks that this will come out at the end of next year with the first iterations of Soul Machine. What am I talking about? What did I say? How did I say it? Go on. I will check out those uninterruptible power supplies, no worries. Right. Congratulations on your Destiny 2 weapon. What ship do you like more, the Sentinel or the Harbinger? Sentinel. The Harbinger I don't really see much point in at the moment. The 3 size 5 torpedoes just isn't good enough. I do like the rocket turret on it, admittedly. Rockets are cool. But they need to sort of like be balanced, and we need to have that sort of like meta for them to be working well in game. But 3 size 5 torpedoes just isn't good enough, really, for me for what I'm expecting from the Harbinger. And now that there's so many torpedoes available for other ships. Do you think it's a coincidence that the 8-seat lifeboat in the 890 resembles the personal module of the Argo MPUV? Oh, that's a good point, actually. It does, doesn't it? I think it's a partial coincidence. When Squadron 42 coming out? We're expecting, currently on the roadmap, there's a feature-complete beta pegged for Q3 2020. It's possible that Squadron 42 could come out at the end of 2020 if we're incredibly lucky. I'm expecting at CitizenCon this year, so the 23rd of November, they'll announce a release date for Squadron 42 Episode 1. Bored, have you a pitchfork? I'm going to be part of Operation Pitchfork, yes. Hello man, love your videos from the French West Indies. Do you think the new gameplay going to be exploration, the next solar system for CitizenCon, or Squadron 42 gameplay? What? Oh, gameplay going to show at CitizenCon. I expect we'll see both. I expect we'll see, definitely see some 3.8 and 3.9 gameplay sort of stuff from CitizenCon. I'm hoping, and I very much expect us to see a new system there for the Persistent Universe. Show that off, show the Carrack off, show the Pisces off, potentially a new Anvil ship off. And I also expect we'll see either a new Squadron 42 trailer or Squadron 42 gameplay as well. What's your favourite ship manufacturer? I like quite a lot for different reasons. Drake, I like because I'm thrifty, and I like stuff to see what they say on the tin. Got a lot of love for Aegis. It's just their design and the way they look. Origin do very pretty ships, but too expensive. I love quite a lot of stuff. Weather effects at CitizenCon? I would expect to see weather effects at CitizenCon, but not dynamic weather, more sort of like a pre-baked. Right. I'm going to go and get some din-dins and finish off a video that I thought was finished, but it wasn't. I love you guys very much. We are going to go and host someone else. We will go and host. We'll go and host Baron. Give Baron some love. I fucking love you guys. Thank you so much. Let's raid him. And I'll try and get I've got a video out on 3.7 State of the PTU and explaining a little bit of the patch notes, but explaining what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what needs to be fixed, and that sort of jazz. I'll get a video on the Vanguard, Harbinger, and Sentinel, doing a quick tour of them up in the next couple of hours. And yeah. Do you like the idea of having the thrusters overheat as gameplay features to stop ships indefinitely floating in silly positions on planets? Yes, 100%. So they need to fix the problems with ships just being able to point down, make them use a load of fuel, make the thrusters less powerful, make them shake, lots of stuff they can do like that. But I'd like somewhere potentially between hover mode and the ICS assist mode and them consuming more fuel, overheating a lot more, that sort of stuff. Right, I'm off. I fucking love you guys so much. You take care. Peace out. Sorry if I didn't answer a question. I'll try and answer it next time. But yeah. Tough. Thank you. I love you. Thanks for the love.